There's so much to notice out here, so much for us to discover. And now that we're using watercolor back home, parts of our brain that we're activating are different. We're noticing things in nature and then noticing things on our paper, and our brain is doing some translating. It's a lot of discovery. I hope you can treat it like a scientist, where you can do little experiments that just belong to you. Nobody else needs to know what you're messing around with until you decide you want them to see it. So have some fun with that. You know, our friend Mary Oliver, the poet, spent a few months in a cabin one summer, and she ended up observing a spider in the stairway. She watched very carefully as this mother spider killed a cricket in her web and fed on it, and then created an egg sac and had millions of little eggs be born into small spiders, start crawling around into the cabin. And she just left it and just observed. And later she talked about how she knew that she could have gone to a book about that spider and found out all the questions that were going through her mind. But sitting there and watching it, observing it like a scientist, was a completely different experience. She said it was like she was Copernicus, and she had discovered this new world, and it was so different than what she had thought. And she goes on to talk about how the palace of knowledge, where we can get our information out of books, that is really different than the palace of discovery. And it's that palace of discovery that I hope you can get into with your painting, with your voyages into nature, with your noticing of light and the way the landscape reads to you in designs and patterns. That's our palace of discovery. And I hope you can find yourself there and have a lot of fun there. And that's the spirit I hope that we can bring to our watercolor. It's noticing what's going on out in our world, noticing what happens on our paper, and doing some translating that only you can do. That's your work. That's your palace of discovery. Part of what I hope this course has done for you is given you a chance to notice things that you might have not noticed before, that now that you've been trying to paint, it makes you look at it differently. You start to think, how could I do that sky? How could I charge in a little bit of that beautiful color into that foreground? It's really about a watercolor lifestyle. It's taking a sketchbook along with you now, or having your paints in your backpack and taking a moment on a rock when you get to a spot that you just want to notice what you see. That's the spirit. Getting out into nature, it's taking your time, being an observer, being a scientist, taking notes for yourself in your little journal about things that bring wonder, that spark you enough that you want to go back and work on that. Put those washes together and see what you can make happen on that paper. For years, I've noticed that when I've got my paints and my paper in my pack, my hike is transformed. I know that's partly because my senses are kind of like operating on a higher setting. I'm viewing details around me with watercolor eyes. There's something that happens in our brains when we attempt to use paint or words or something to tell people about the world that we've just noticed. It's a translating process. That's the creative process. And I think it helps us feel like we're really alive. We're really human beings alive on this planet. We're in a palace of discovery. There's wonders all around us. Every creative person goes through periods of doubt. You know, those times when it feels like the well maybe ran dry. You're just not feeling that audacity that Churchill talked about. That's one reason that I love to keep a sort of visual scrapbook around. It's a place where I collect all my sketches and postcards and pamphlets from art museums, or little paintings that I've cut out of advertisements or catalogs, or photographs of special spots that I noticed on a trip. These are all just little visual reminders, and those are the things that sometimes help trigger ideas. I like to sit in a quiet spot and I just look through these visual pages. You never know what little scrap of color or what little line drawing might inspire your next masterpiece. It's been a joy for me to take this journey with you, and I hope that it's given you a chance to be successful on paper, but mostly I hope it gives you a chance to get outside and really use those watercolor eyes and really notice what's happening in the world around you, in the physical, natural world. and think about the ways that you can translate that into watercolor paint. I hope you have a lot of time in your own palace of discovery after you've taken this course. And I wish you well, and I hope you'll share some of the things that you have tried. Thank you. Martha Graham, the famous dancer and choreographer, once said something about dancing that I think really applies to watercolor painting as well. She said that there is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there's only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and be lost. Usually starts a little bit crooked, a little bit gnarly. The trees have a rough life in this world today. I think I made a donkey. It's such a beautiful world. Every stroke has a monkey on your back just pressuring you towards perfection. You realize that looks like crap, don't you? Well, it's just a piece of paper. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Just take a joyride in a paint box. Winston said, you know, they say that practice makes perfect, and they say nobody's perfect. I wish they'd make up their minds. You don't have to be perfect, just let it go. So when are we going to get to the good part?